in the body we have 72,000 energy channels, and the food that we eat, the things that we consume, they have life force in them. And things like fresh fruit, organic fresh fruit, have some of the most potent life force within them. And I have naturally, like, I've bathed in apples because my vessel, my body, it makes my body sing. The other day when I was on the beach, I just took loads of like fresh fruit to the beach, and I just felt called to rub the skin of a mango. Like, I started rubbing it up and down my legs, and the amount of like pleasure and energy and connection, I felt like me and the mango had a full-on, like, orgasmic relation. Me and the mango made sweet, passionate love on the beach. And no one teaches me that. Like, that comes through me, that comes through my body, that comes through like an inner knowing.
Welcome back
Welcome.
to another episode of the Modern Shakti Files with my beautiful co-host Leanne and myself, Maya. Thank you. You were going to introduce me, but I jumped off. I appreciate it. So, for those of you who are new here, both Leanne and myself are Kundalini activation facilitators and spiritual teachers, Kundalini teachers. We do various things, but kind of what we have in common is that we both have been walking the path of Kundalini, life force energy embodiment. And in this podcast, we share our unique experiences and insights from a practical and modern perspective in how it is to live with an active Kundalini energy in a Western society, because it's becoming something more and more common for people to have these spontaneous experiences. So we help you to demystify and to understand. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about the various practices, like everyday practices, whether it's traditional or made, that helps and supports us in our daily lives to integrate and to tap into and to embody and master this energy deeper and deeper, and how it's been supporting us on our journey, which is a journey that never ends.
Yeah. And I think what's really important when it comes to this is that as your energy expands, these kinds of daily practices become non-negotiable, because it's part of your being, it's part of who you are, it's part of the same way that you drink water and the same way that you eat food is the same way that when your energy expands and you become more sensitive, that you need to nurture that. Because there's also consequences of not nurturing your energy, not protecting your energy, the more sensitive that you become. So I think a really good place to start with all of this, Maya, is in terms of daily routine. What do we do on a daily basis to maintain, to stay connected to our energy, to ensure that we can function in the modern world in the way that we desire? What does your daily routine look like? And can you make that specific, for any listeners that we've got on here that might be at the start of their infancy on their journey? They don't necessarily understand what we mean, because we've been doing this years. So can we really break it down into basic terms? What is your morning routine? And can you explain that in a way that can really hit new listeners?
Yeah, for sure. So firstly, my morning routine has been changing constantly since I had a Kundalini awakening. And I had times when I had a morning routine and I had times when I had none. And they're equally relevant and part of the journey. Like, we all go through phases when we just don't have time for certain things. And that is okay. And that is very important to highlight, because this is not about performance or perfection. It's finding a way where you can really support yourself, like build a relationship that is supportive for you and your energy. And it comes from a space of intentionally wanting to give yourself time and space to step into your day with intention. So right now, I have the luxury, I call it luxury because I know it's not available for every person to wake up when they choose to wake up. And this is because I run my own business. So I get to set my own times and I get to work with my body. So I don't have to force myself to start by a certain time. I follow the biological natural rhythm that my body likes to go to sleep, which is the same time every day, and wake up at the same time every day. But it's not, according to society's expectation. And from there, I have space and time to at least the first hour of me waking up to connect, to my breath, to start noticing and sensing what's in my body. It's actually really cool because we did speak about this a little bit last time, and you said a really interesting practice, which I'm going to let you explain with the light and the scan. And I started doing that a little bit in the last few days. I'm like, oh, I really like this, which is another thing. Yeah. We constantly find new things that, that really helps to uncover a different part of you. Like we learn and you can integrate yummy things into your morning routine.
Yeah.
So I started to do that, and I'm going to let you explain it when you share what is it that you do. And my very powerful and very important practice for me is to start the day with the light, with the right consciousness. And what I mean by that is that I intentionally sit in silence, in meditation. Right now I can go outside and I sit in the garden, which has been so beautiful. So I get to have the morning sun. And while I have my coffee, I take time to breathe, to feel the air around me. And I connect with source within myself through starting to have a dialogue. I call it having a conversation with the creator, with source consciousness, checking in with the friends, the most important person, and just really intentionally set that certainty that the day and my surroundings and everything that is around me is perfect exactly as it is. So I start with gratitude of thank you for creating this perfect day for me. Irrespective of, what I might think that day is going to carry. I know that if this is what is happening and this is where I am today, this is exactly where I'm meant to be. So I first really have myself to bring myself to that level of consciousness of start seeing possibility and opportunity in my current scenarios, like in my current circumstances. So I kind of go through, if I need a little bit more support, I think about things that I'm grateful for, just to kind of really help raise my frequency. And from there, I usually move into a prayer. And prayer for me means I don't ask for things to change around me or for people to change. I ask for strength and for presence for myself, because I understand that this is not about my circumstances to change, but for me to have the wisdom, the intelligence, and the capacity to act as source creation, to be able to embody my highest potential, the highest version of myself, and be able to carry that energy into my day. So when I speak to people, when I connect to people, I come from a space of wholeness, because I know that I already have everything within. I can show up with a space of from a giving space, essentially. And that's a very powerful perspective to enter into the day, where you are not responding from fear or lack, or looking to take something, or I'm going to have to call this person because I need this. First, really taking that time to re-anchor and feel that fullness and wholeness within yourself. And another thing that I usually do is that if I go through challenges with people at the time, like someone has triggered me, or let's say there is a gap between us, the more you elevate, you're going to have people who you're not going to be liked by everyone. Simple. And we have to accept that. And what I love to do is to think about every person who has ever hurt me and surround them in a what is it called? Like a circle of light, in a ball of light, of love. And I imagine that I bring them into my heart. And I do that with every person. I wrap them in this ball of light. People who I might have, a gap with, to really close that gap, because that's where negativity can enter. When you think that you are separate from people, when you think that you are separate from your circumstances. So all the challenges that I face at the time, I intentionally wrap it in light and bring it into my heart. And I do that with my business partners, with my clients, everyone. And I wrap them in that light of universal, unconditional love and bring unity into my own heart. And
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
that's one of them. What
That's a
about
really
you?
powerful start to the day. So I start my day by checking in with my energy. So I'll say what it is that you were referring to, Maya. So I bring my awareness into my body. So it's almost like I start to scan different parts of my body and tune into it. And it's like noticing what are the sensations in my body, what are the textures in my body, is there any tension in my body? And I do a breathwork variation first thing, which is it's called Pranayama breathwork, and it's moon and sun breathing. So it's like alternative nostril breathing, but it's simply like inhaling, and it's as simple as that. So you do that for 8 counts and switch over. So in the body we've got that central energy column. So if I'm feeling tensions, if I'm feeling certain things going on within my body, within my energy channel, just doing them breath works starts to clear. I'm going to call it fuzz. I'm just making it up, but it starts to clear the fuzz in the channel so that I can have access to more of that blissful, peaceful, regulated state. They're similar to you in terms of I've reached a stage with myself and my own internal state that now when I notice that I'm not feeling good, I honor my emotions, I honor my state, but I also recognize like what am I saying to myself right now? So if it's like I'm getting up for the day to write a book or serve a client or whatever it is, and I'm feeling tension in my system, there's a story, there's something going on there that I need to address, I need to reframe, I need to understand. So I know personally, like I've done like a recent review of like my values, what's important to me, and I'm not showing up for business as consistent as I know within my being that I can in order to get the results that I want. And I will use this as an opportunity first thing in the morning to remind myself of those things as well. So if I'm saying like being more consistent is important to me, at the start of the day, I will start to like program and work with myself and that. And there might be part of my body that's like, well, I don't want to work consistently because I just want to go eat ice cream. And I will speak to that part and I'll be like, babe, I know you want to eat ice cream and I know you want to go play out in the sun, but being consistent is really important to our advancement. So I will have them inner conversations so that I'm not creating like a mismatch in my energy field where one part of me wants to go in that direction, one part of me wants to go that direction. I'm fully holding like all of my being and my multi-dimensionality. And then I'll dance. So like dance, movement, any way in which you can move life force energy through the body. So when I move now or when I dance, I'm very much moving to a trance state straight away. So it's almost like when I dance, I'm in the field. I'm no longer human. I'm in the infinite field of intelligence. I can feel everything around my body. And then I get to start moving like life force through my system, cleansing my system. So it's full of rejuvenated, like cosmic, blissful energy instead of maybe some stagnant emotion from something my unconscious has perceived as unsafe or whatever it is. So that is typically the morning routine that I have. But similar to you, I also change in advance, and I think it will be interesting maybe in a few months' time to do a similar podcast like this again and talk about our routine. Yeah, I think it's important for anybody listening to this. It's like what serves you. What serves you the most in a moment in time. And it might be, God, my body just needs so much movement. I woke up in the middle of the night the other day and I started doing like ninja moves in the middle of the night because I had this.
That is for them, like, cool.
Yeah, yeah. I woke up last night in the middle of the night and I did some mad shit with my hands and I just focused on a point in the wall and I was like needle staring at it in deep focus and then I went back to sleep. I was like, all right.
Yeah, it's part of it. You know,
Yeah.
I actually do this often. Like, I remember my teacher at the time, who trained me in Kundalini activations. She used to have these things like waking up in the middle of the night and starting to channel and doing a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, okay, I have the best sleep. Like, nothing comes, nothing wakes me up. But on the flip side, I do get very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like dreams that kind of predict the future.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we should maybe do
Premonition,
an
yeah.
episode on this. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I get. So they let me sleep, but they feed me information. So when I wake up, I'm like, okay. I call people. I'm like, this and this is what's happening. They're like, how do you know? I'm like, don't worry about it. I just know. But yeah,
I love
I
that.
was gonna say, talking about dancing, because there's obviously the part of like movement involved as well. For me, currently where I am right now, my top priority is elevating consciousness first thing. And I usually move into movement from then. So then I kind of start working with the body and scan. And dancing has also been a routine of mine. It sometimes changes. Currently, what I've been doing a lot and focusing a lot on is to actually intentionally reset my body, like opening up my lymph nodes. So I do like a 5-10 minutes lymphatic reset, because it also depends a little bit on the person and body types too. Like, we all need to pump our lymph nodes because it can't do it on its own. And if you don't pump it, like lymph nodes, we think that it's just fluid. But fluid and water is basically how energy travels in the body. So it's how life force energy travels in the body. So if you don't move and you don't create a pathway for this to for the stagnant waters to clear itself out, then you can do all the energy healing work. You're just gonna pump it into a swamp, and who wants that, right? So for me, I also actually done this analysis like with my eye color, and it says that I'm the type who really needs to make sure that I do a lot of lymphatic resets. So that's something I do. So I do like a kind of like a Tai Chi little movement practice, like jumping, shaking everything out, and just letting my joints kind of, get really oiled up. And then I tap on certain areas of the body and then shake it out. And I also have a vibration plate, which has been really fun because it's just like you can feel everything, like feel the tingles in your body. And then this is interesting because if I do that practice, and when I do drop into like a dance where I intentionally activate life force or even a ceremony, that's when I can like switch on within a second. It just automatically comes on. And I notice if I don't do my resets, I'm like, I'm good. Then it takes me some time to really be able to drop in. It has a good impact.
Yeah, that's a powerful practice and something I do. We'll go into a little bit of like daytime activities as well, but just kind of on the topic of what you were saying, Mia, is I use castor oil on my body. So before I go to bed every night, I will do some form of movement, and I do feminine style movements. And what I mean when I say that is like flowing movements where, look how good that looks. Jesus, look at how good oh god, that's so good. But I do it with my body, and I guide my body into fluid movements to move energy. And I will rub castor oil all over my body, so like really like soothing before I go to bed on a night. So I will like oil my body, my physical vessel. It loves it. It absolutely loves it. So that's another practice that I do. that makes my vessel feel nourished. And you know what I find really bizarre in all of this is that I don't know how I used to function. I don't know how. Like, like since we've started doing all of these practices and connecting with your inner child and connecting with your energy and all of them different things, I don't know how I used to function in life. But I guess we weren't. I guess we were like in a state of programming, survival, all of them different things, because my body is
Hoping and
so
reacting.
sensitive. Yeah,
Hoping
yeah,
and reacting, not responding.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
So what
yeah, I
kind
feel
of, is there any particular exercises that you do through the day which support your energy? I'd be
yeah,
keen to know.
yeah. Right now, currently, I do a lot of identity embodiment in particular, especially during the day. So I had this thing where, you know about like archetype work, right? Like when you work with different archetypes, like the queen, the lover,
Yeah,
etc. So I never really gone into them. Like I think they are great, but I personally always been the type of person who find my own way with things. So I don't really go into like really structured teachings and practices. Like I get what I need from certain areas. So what I have done is that I have actually created my own archetypes based on like the highest version of me in particular, so unique to me. I shared this with you. We were talking about this. So for example,
yeah,
I have created for my inner child this divine masculine persona, this like 3 or 4 meter tall Viking that like walks around with her when she feels scared to take up space in a room or speak her truth or whatever it is. You remember I told you it was so funny when I had this, like when I was sitting with her and I was like, oh yeah, we get to have him with us now. Like we're walking with the big boss. And she's like, yeah. And he got this, he's super strong with a big sword, but he got the tummy because he's cuddly too. You remember? It was like,
oh,
yeah,
I love it.
that's the one. It
I
was
love
so
it.
good. So that has been like one level for me to really help. And
Yeah,
I know why I've done it. So this is the nervous system level of safety that I started to create. So I built this level and I worked with this for a few weeks. So now it's kind of like becomes natural. Like Artur, like we call him Artur, is with us. So he's walking behind us everywhere. And the powerful thing with Artur is that we don't have to say we are powerful, because look at him, like his presence is like, just step aside. So that was
yeah,
one thing, one archetype that I kind of started to bring in. And these things I do throughout the day. Like when I notice I'm like, I feel a bit, I'm not sure. And I'm just like, okay, Artur is here, Artur is here. And I feel like my body changes, like how I show up and how I
yeah,
walk, because I feel that safety. And
yeah,
another archetype that has dropped in since, because Artur helped us to create that safety, is the creatrix. And this is like a whole other persona that I have created that just dropped in. And this is that divine feminine goddess energy, the one who is like, I am here. I know my word. I don't have to prove anything, and just holds it and, expresses and creates from wholeness. And this has been so
yeah,
much fun for me to tap into. And I do this a few times a day. And these are all intuitive things that kind of just happen. And I have like a particular like hand movement. And I know this has been researched, but I just done this intuitively. So I have this like hand
yeah,
movement, like I kind of imagine to open up like a vortex. Like, sorry, from the bottom up, like I open up a vortex, and then she just like transcends and drops in, and I can feel her presence like dropping into my body. And I
wow,
do this a few times a day, like
yeah,
particularly when I know that, like, let's say I'm about to have a conversation with someone and I want to come from that place of, I hold my own word. I hold myself in this wholeness and full, or before I do content or show up. So this is, yeah,
yeah.
something.
And I'd like to put a little bit of context there for any new listeners as well, because they might think like, whoa, what's this all about? So the more the more that you experience Kundalini energy, you'll experience your multi-dimensional nature. And what I mean when I say that is you'll realize that there are many different parts of you that are consistently trying to speak through you, to protect you, to you, all of these different things. So, for example, something happened to me the other day, and I had about 6 different expressions to it. I felt angry because of something. I felt sad because of something. I felt disappointed because of something. I felt happy all at the same time. And what you come to realize is that they are all different expressions of different parts of you. And previously to going through this kind of experience, you view yourself very linear. You view yourself as like, oh, I'm just this identity and that's who I am. But actually, on an unconscious level, you have feminine parts of you that are trying to communicate and trying to express through you. And the more that you connect to Kundalini energy, the more you connect to your feminine energy, which means the more you're connecting to your parts. And that is different expressions. And when Maya is talking about working with different archetypes, when you've got the capacity to hold all of these different expressions, you also have the capacity to call on expressions, call on certain energy patterns to move through you. Because your identity that you were prior to experiencing a Kundalini awakening or going through some kind of spiritual process is just an expression of energy that you learned to master really, really good. So your vessel, your body, kind of becomes like a tuning fork in which expressions can move through you. And this is where, like, being a creator comes in. This is where you can actually embody anything if you really want to. But you need to be able to do the work to do that. So I thought I'd just put a little bit of context onto that as well, Maya, sort of for people that haven't heard of archetypes. And it's almost like you get to play with expressions. And what is really powerful in all of this as well is that a lot of people aren't aware of this, and a lot of people are not aware. And then they just see this person just embodying this big, fierce expression because we can. So you really get to move through the world in a real powerful, self-assured way of, Maya could just be feeling fear and let it engulf her. But instead, she's calling forth this archetype who's her protector. So she's taking like real responsibility of her inner experience and how do I use these different things to support me in the world and in creation.
And I really love that perspective and explanation too, because it's like I said, like for me, and I think for many of us who essentially starts to tap into something a little bit mystical, you will start noticing that you end up doing things naturally that you don't know why you do that. But when you start doing research like science or that's not the science, but like different type of coachings and like how the mind works or neuroscience in that or in that particular matter, you're like, oh, these are the things that I've been doing. So it's really cool because I know you also been obviously trained in NLP, and I'm sure there is some type of framework that would translate to the thing that I do. And I never read it in my life. Like you start getting these downloads. You're just like, yeah, you need to do this. I think it's very similar. Do you want to share about the thing that I saw you doing? Like just like rubbing fruit all over yourself? Like where do these downloads and ideas coming from?
Yeah. So obviously, like in the body, we have 72,000 energy channels, and the food that we eat, the things that we consume, they have life force in them. And things like fresh fruit, organic fresh fruit, have some of the most potent life force within them. And I have naturally, like I've bathed in apples because my vessel, my body, it makes my body sing. The other day when I was on the beach, I just took loads of like fresh fruit to the beach, and I just felt called to rub the skin of a mango. Like I started rubbing it up and down my legs, and the amount of like pleasure and energy and connection I felt like me and the mango had a full-on, like, orgasmic relation. Me and the mango made sweet, passionate love on the beach. And no one teaches me that. Like, that comes through me, that comes through my body, that comes through like an inner knowing. And also today I'm going to do a ceremony on the land. I was telling Mia about it before, and I'm taking flowers and gifts and all of these different things to say a prayer to the land, to speak to the land, to say a prayer over the women in my life. And nobody's taught me this. I know this, and I don't know how I know this. And the more that you connect to your soul, the more that you connect to your life force, you start to do just real intuitive things. That the other day I woke up and I spun round in the middle of the night and I started doing samurai moves, and then all of a sudden I felt like I knew how to use a weapon. I was like, oh, okay, this is new. Straight download from God, sniper. And when I go home, I'm going to buy a samurai sword, and I'm 100%. I'm 100% convinced that I can use a weapon, and I don't know how. It's just, this is who I am now. Like, this is how energy wants to express and move through me. So I'm like, okay, must have been a sniper in a past life.
Exactly. Yeah, and this is so cool. And just like touching on what you said when you were explaining earlier, like the archetypes and the different expressions, another perspective that I think can really help to ground this in, like, why is this happening and how is this connected to Kundalini, is the fact that Kundalini is expansion. So when you work with the energy in a way where you learn how to create safety in your body while holding intensity, expansion. And I keep repeating this. I feel like a parrot, but being a parrot about this thing is really good because it's important.
Parrot away.
So, parroting away. So, when you hold intensity while being safe, this also translates to expanding capacity, expanding consciousness. So when you're able to expand consciousness, then it means that you start, like you said, you become naturally a multidimensional being who is also able to hold multiple perspectives at once. Yeah. So you start noticing that you can actually relate to people differently because you can see their perspectives without collapsing into them. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about different perspectives. And in order for you to be able to do that, you need to be able to hold a higher level of consciousness. And the path through the body to reach higher level of consciousness is to hold intensity in your own body while remaining safe. So if you want to be more intelligent and have neutral perspectives into things, work with your life force energy, because that's really the only way you can expand into organic intelligence, right?
Yeah.
And when you do that, you have so much more like expansion, and there is space for information, like you said, downloads, remembering certain things because you are capable to hold it. Like, imagine if you haven't expanded and reached like, let's say in order to have this type of experience, you need to hold 150 watts of light, but you currently in your vessel can only hold 60 watts of light. So imagine if energy comes in or downloads are coming in from simultaneous lives, because time is not linear, so it's not really past lives, but your multidimensional information is trying to drop into that 60-watt light bulb. It's gonna like explode. You won't have no way to process it. You're like, what do you mean? Like seeing all these different versions of you when you can hardly hold the 60 watts bulb. Right?
Yeah, 100%. And I'd also say, like, just to kind of conclude and finish with that, is that having the capacity to hold, it's so contradicting in so many ways. So, like, one example might be, I'm really, really driven. I love money. I love this. I love that. But equally, I don't have anywhere to be, and I don't have to get any results, and I've got nothing to prove. And it's like, they're so contrasting.
I love that.
But I deeply believe it, and I feel it in my body. So like, and when you have less levels of consciousness, for example, you may only be able to hold one perspective. So you may only be able to hold the perspective of I either get results and I'm driven, or I don't have to do it. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like, the more that you expand, the more that you're able to hold so many different contradicting perspectives, beliefs, feelings and emotions, like 6-7 different emotions all at the same time. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know how on earth I'm angry and sad and happy and orgasmic and all of these things all at the same time. But then I'm like, but I can handle it and I'm here for it. And this is what I signed up for. Yeah.
I love how we took it. Is this a U-turn from like daily practices, or just a natural evolution of the topic?
We went in a whole different direction. So maybe next one we'll cover a few more practices that we can share. We might end up going off topic on that one as well. Yeah.
We can't control what is meant to come through. So
exactly.
Nice. I love. Would you like to add anything before we close off?
Yeah, just for anybody who is dialing into this podcast, I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time to listen to what me and Maya are speaking about. This process is supporting the evolution of humanity, and we believe that we've got the skills to support people that are going through this. So if you have a look in the comments section, you will see our website, our Instagrams and stuff like that. And if you do have any questions about any experiences that you are going through, feel free to pop them in the comments. We would love to hear from you, and we just hope you stay tuned, ready for the next podcast episode.
Yes, and also if you enjoyed it, if you give it a rating on Spotify or YouTube, it means so much to us. It's a new channel, so we would love for it to reach those who are ready to receive this message, and your feedback counts.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. That's it.
All right.
Bye.